Hello, everybody! I'm Ramsis!
And I'm the cameraman.
That's right, and we are here for a special edition of Vespor's Retro Reviews. We just got something that's as retro as you can imagine. It is old, that's new again, and I think all of you are going to really enjoy what we have here. It's not a surprise, it's been widely known that Atari bought out Intellivision not too long ago. The biggest rivals ever. You remember the battle of the 80s. It was Atari versus Intellivision. Atari won the battle, but not the war. I think everyone lost the war because of the video game crash in 1983. Nintendo really won the war after all that, but it was the biggest rivalry, and it was amazing when Atari bought out Intellivision and all their intellectual properties. So what did they do with that ability? Well, they released something that I've been wanting for a long time. I think this is really a great thing. It just arrived yesterday. Yes, it just arrived yesterday. We wanted to save the opening for when all of you could see this, because I think all of our retro fans are really going to love this. This is what retro is all about. What's old is new again. All right. But before we get to it, don't forget to
like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell so we can bring you a lot more where this came from. And boy, are we going to have a lot more where this came from if Atari continues to do things like this. And if other companies do something like this too. And what is Ramsis talking about? Well, I think it's time to reveal what is in the box. It is... That's right. The Intellivision Sprint video game console. So here it is in all its glory. You can see it hasn't been opened yet. It's in its nice plastic covering. And we're going to open it for the first time for all of you. You know, usually I don't open things, but this, I do plan on using this greatly. This is going to be used. It's no secret that I have the ColecoVision. I've wanted an Intellivision for the longest time. This kills two birds with one stone, and I'll show you why. It's smaller than the regular Intellivision, but pretty much everything else about it is in Intellivision. Alright, so without further ado, I think it's time we unwrap this baby and show you exactly what is in it. But before we do that, we like to show the box. It's always cool to see how do they get your attention. What are they showcasing? Does it look exactly like the old school Intellivision box? No, but this is the old school logo. This Intellivision logo is exactly what it used to look like. This Running Man was a very big part of their logo also. They do capture the aesthetic of it, but definitely in a more modernized, oh boy, this is new but old again. Alright, so Vespor, we're gonna take the old Vespor Retro Review pocket knife, and we're gonna slice this thing open.
don't cut yourself like last time.
Last time, Vespor, I did not cut myself. Yeah! There we go, alright, now that we have gotten past that moment, there we go, let's close on it. Oh, this looks great already, Vespor. I can't wait to try this baby out. Alright, so the front of the box. Look how nice and shiny it is. I don't want to get my fingerprints all over everything, but very nice and shiny. So it really has that retro but new look. Now, you'll notice there's something missing on the top of this controller, Vespor. What do you see here?
There's no cord.
That's right. We'll show you that when we get there. So what are they bragging about? 45 built-in games, including Boulder Dash. Well, hey, Boulder Dash is a good game, Vespor.
Boulder Dash.
That's right, it's Boulder Dash, Boulder Dash. What's on the top of the box? Alright, more purplish and blue video game console, very cool. On the side, you get a very cool Intellivision logo with the Running Man. On the bottom, you get, on your mark, get set, play. Very cool. And what do we got on the back? Journey back to the golden age of gaming. Released to compete with the Atari 2600. So they actually are self-aware. Atari, who made this, is realizing this was really created to compete with them. I like the self-awareness of it. Released to compete with the Atari 2600, the Intellivision challenged Atari's dominance in living rooms and created a rivalry that became known as the first console war. That is true. That was really the first console war, whereas, and don't forget, ColecoVision was a very big part of that too, folks. Intellivision offered players more realistic sport games, richer graphics, and unique controllers. For its 45th anniversary, the Intellivision Sprint brings you back to the era with 45 of its very best games on a system upgraded for today. Meaning, we can play this on HDMI TV, right folks? Alright, so now, you're probably wondering, the box looks great, the history sounds great, what is in there? Yeah, I'm wondering that myself. I have no idea, so we're going to use the Vespor's Retro Reviews handy dandy knife. And we're going to slice it up. There we go, just like that.
He didn't cut himself, folks.
Yeah!
Not like the first time.
Alright, so here we go. I'm excited, Vespor. Are you ready?
I'm watching and waiting.
Okay. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's foam.
Oh. Well, anyway, yes, it is foam protected. Very nice job. And there we go. Now that looks exactly like the Intellivision. Smaller. The regular Intellivision would be like that big, but definitely has the same aesthetic. It really does. It feels, you can feel the hard plastic, the metal. All the buttons are nice and raised, the same raised plastic, reset, on, off, all the same features that the Intellivision had. This really is a very good recreation, actually.
Yeah, they probably spent more for the actual case than they did for the electronics to make this.
Oh yes, the inside is probably like nothing, but the outside is amazing. It really is a great recreation. And it's very light, so you can definitely see this is much lighter than the original Intellivision was. The original Intellivision has some weight to this. This is mostly empty. I mean, this is like, you could throw this like a feather. This is really very bouncy, very light. There's not much in here. But you don't need much in here. This is a very simplistic system when you're using modern technology to recreate it. So the instructions we'll look at in a bit. For now, I'll give you a little tour of the system itself. So you're probably all wondering, does it have the wood grain in front? Are you wondering that, Vespor?
Not really.
Well, the answer is it does.
That's not wood. It looks like wood, but it isn't.
But it isn't, yes.
It doesn't matter. What we're looking for here is a HDMI quality system to play some old-fashioned games on.
That's exactly right. So, before I take anything out, let's just show you all sides. It has the wood grain. No cartridge slot. You're probably all wondering, no cartridge slot. So that's the sad part of this. Wouldn't it have been great if, oh wow, I can plug my own cartridges in here? That would have been really cool. I wish they did it because with how light and empty this is, they could have put a cartridge slot that would have activated the same way any other ROM is activated on this. They could have done it. And I don't know why they didn't, but they really could have done it. That's probably the only feature that may be a make or break for some. But I'll show you why it doesn't really matter. I'll show you why in a second why it does not matter. The chunk of a cartridge is great, but does it matter? Is it a break on this? I say no. But would it have been cool? Yes, it would have been very cool. Do you want to see where this is made, Vespor? I sure do. Alright, made in Hong Kong, and this is the 3,288th to ever be made. So there you go, I got 3,288th unit ever made. And if you want to read the information, absolutely, just realize it was not made in America. Surprise, surprise. Then again, that's not make or break. Now here's the important features you're probably all wondering. How do you activate everything? HDMI, that's how you plug it into your TV, obviously. USB, that's how you're going to expand things to it. Port 1 and 2 is not used yet, but I believe you'll be able to use other controllers or actual Intellivision controllers or devices that are compatible with it. That might be later stuff. Syncing, well, I'll show you what that means because we'll be using that in a second. Of course, power, it uses a standard USB adapter cable that either goes to plug, not included, or the TV, which is probably how we'll plug it in. So all the stuff you need is right there on the back. They did a very good job, and I think it's as simple as can be. Now, the fun part is the controllers, right, Vespor? You're probably wondering, how do these controllers work? There you go.
Just pull them off.
It has a USB connector right there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the USB tab. Now, the great thing about this, and I saw this in the advertising for it. Oh no, you can't plug it. No, it stops it right here. See? You can push all you want. You have to slide it perfectly. There's no way to break this metal thing off.
That's actually very useful. I was sitting there thinking, oh my god, that's going to break.
Chunk. Nope. Look at this. Stops right there. So this is a great, they thought ahead, and I think that's great that they did. And it charges while it is plugged into the TV, and we'll show you plugging into the TV in a second, but it charges. But, believe it or not, there's batteries in here. You could probably plug this in also to any USB adapter to it. It'll work too. You could literally plug this into the wall if you don't want to keep this plugged in. So, and it's 2 players, of course. We have 2 controllers. And now the controller is the next important part. These are much lighter.
And they're thinner.
Yes, than what the original were. Much. I can already tell. I've held Intellivision controllers before. I've used Intellivision before. Much lighter. Very thin. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it does not have the required components that the original Intellivision had. You can even see it used to have an imprint. You know how your hands used to sink in? They got rid of that. This is flat. So that's going to be different to play because now you're holding it on the same level. It used to be your hand sunk into a hole in the back, and I don't know why they got rid of that. There was no reason to get rid of that. But it used to have a hole in the back so your hands could comfortably. Now you got to sort of keep it level. So it's more like an NES controller now, because this is what an NES controller had in the back, right? Just like a straight thing of plastic. Yep. How are the buttons, you're probably wondering? Very nice. Springy.
And it turned on.
Oh yeah, look, and it's always thinking. This is great. How are the buttons? Clicky. Now that is a difference. I remember the old buttons were more rubbery and they were like not as loud. So this one you can I think it's a positive. You can actually tell when you're pushing the button now, right?
Yes.
So let's see if you can hear it. There you go. And how are the number buttons, you're probably wondering? Yep, you can hear those too. That sounds very similar. They had that, what's the right word? Plasticky sound effect to it. So you can definitely tell when you're pushing these buttons. So, very good quality, Vespor. I think they did a great job with it.
I think they did a fine job, too. I mean, after all, I can't believe they went out of their way to make an Intellivision.
Yeah. Atari didn't fool around. When they bought the rights, they bought the rights. Alright, so what is in the box? Nothing. No, not nothing. We already used that joke. It is...
cords.
Yes. HDMI cord. Alright, that's how you plug your system in. Now... they're both the same type of HDMI, very standard, so don't worry about it. It'll work with the TV and you plug in the back. Very standard HDMI cord. This is the sad part. They don't give you the little block. You know how it plugs into a little block? Most TVs, though, and I hope you guys realize, there is a USB port on your TV. A lot of people don't realize this. The USB port on your TV will work as a power cord. So if you want to just plug it into the USB on your TV, it will work. Otherwise... you are going to have to buy the plug for it, and those are easy to get. I saw it at Five Below just the other day, actually. They had the plugs on the wall, not that expensive, $5. But it would be nice if they gave you. I don't like how cheap these companies are getting now, but anyway, this is a USB. And you're probably wondering, what are in these two boxes? Vespor, do you want to take a guess? What would be in these two boxes here?
Games?
No, not games.
What?
Overlays for the controllers. I'm only going to open one because it's for 2 players, obviously. The same exact things are in both. I know that sounds crazy, but it's 2-player games, a lot of these, so you need overlays for both. I'm going to open one. We'll keep the other one nice, fresh. It'll never be opened. What does it say? Please remove overlays, protective film before using. So obviously every single overlay, they plastic. So they must have printed these all out and coated them. Like I said, they did a good job. Besides the plug not being included, I think they did a pretty good job with including everything. Alright, let's open the box in the box. Oh, these are great, Vespor. Nice and plasticky smelling. You can see like these are fresh from the mint. So what do we got? Overlays for every single game that is available on the system, Vespor. Every single game. And we're not going to give away all the titles, so I'm just going to quickly do this to show you, like I'll give away bowling. This is the accurate bowling, because I remember the bowling one. You could pick the sizes of your ball and the weight and all that. This is actually exactly what it was.
Well, you know, the problem is that with all of these overlays, they're only for the games that come with it, right?
That is correct. That is correct, Vespor. All right, so now I guess we should show you that, yes, this does work in the controller, because I think you'll all want to know that. But yeah, we should show you what comes with it, because it is important to show you the quick start instructions. So this is all you get, one sheet, but I guess it's not that complicated. It really isn't. This is technically all you really need. And it's just showing how to plug it into the, see here, how to plug it into the TV and the other, where the other wires go. That's what they're showing you with that part. Here it's how to sync the controllers. So remember I said, oh, we'll get to that in a bit? Yes. So you gotta sync your controller to the system. It has to find it. And then once they're both blue lit, then oh boy, it works. And here's all the instructions. You can look at yourself. It tells you about the controllers. It tells you how the game instructions work. It tells you a pro tip.
When playing a game, you can return to the game carousel screen by holding the tap button on the left side of the Player 1 controller, along with button 5 on the keypad for 3 seconds.
All right, there you go. So that's how you get back. It's the top button on the left side of Player 1 and 5. It's a weird shortcut, but that's how you reset it back to the game carousel so you can select games again, all right? And it shows you what it comes with, and it has a little code so you can shortcut to all this too. So it might not seem like a lot, and it's not, but that's all you need. This is really all you need to get the system working, Vespor.
Absolutely.
And now let's show you one of these overlays inside the controller. So how does this work? So maybe some of you have never used an Intellivision. Well, the Intellivision had this fun, 12 button keyboard display, because all of them were doing that. I mentioned that in one of our reviews that everybody was doing that. Intellivision was doing that. So how does it work? There you go, slips right in very comfortably. Now you're probably all asking, oh gee, will my old overlays work? If I wanted to use my old bowling overlay, yes, it is exactly sized. While the system itself is smaller, the controllers are exactly the same size. They are thinner, but they're exactly the same size otherwise. So your overlays will work in this controller. So if you have bowling yourself, you're like, oh, well, just for nostalgic sake, I want to use my bowling overlay. Yeah, it will work. You can use your bowling. I don't know why you would, but you can use your own. But I think it's really cool that they include the overlays, because that was the fun of playing Intellivision games. Like, oh, I'm playing bowling now. I got to get the bowling. Yeah. And then you get all excited because now it feels like, oh, I'm playing bowling. It's a special experience, you know? So every overlay for every game that came with it, by the way, and that's 45 games, and we'll show you them, is included. Alright, so as you can see, we have everything plugged in. HDMI to the TV, power to the USB port. Like I said, it will work with the USB port. It is very clearly plugged into the USB in the back of the TV. HDMI is to any HDMI port. That's all you have to do. And this is nice, and then Intellivision taking up a whole entire screen. I think it's great.
Yeah, this is something that, even though there's a workaround with the ColecoVision, it does stretching on these bigger screens. This one is not stretched. This one is as you see it.
Exactly. So we pre-synced the controllers. So how do you sync the controllers? I'm not going to do it again because I don't want to unsync them. There's the sync button on the top. You hold that, it will flash. You then push sync 1 on the back of the console until this stops flashing, then it's synced. Do the same exact thing with 2, and there you go, you are synced. Once you have a solid blue light, you are synced. So what's the first thing we're going to do is select our language. Well, what language are we speaking, Vespor? It's not...
English.
Yeah, it's not any strange language, it's English. That is right. So you push number 1 for English, and now we get our game carousel. So this is every game that comes with this system. No, we're not going to play all, but we are going to show you in the carousel what games, and then we'll play 3 games, and then we'll show you how to add your own games, because I know that's what you're all excited about. How do you get your own games onto here? Well, be patient. So here you go. You got the year that the game came out, you have a little bit of a description about it, and you have the name, and then you have the box art here, which is very cool. This is the original box art that actually came, and I remember some of these. Like I said, I had it in the television. I do remember some of these. Arbor Battle, that's as basic as you can get. That's like a very easy game. Astrosmash, everybody had that game. That's a shooting game, great. Auto Racing, well, that's what it is. This is the infamous B-17 Bomber, you know, the one with the voice activated. So you're probably all wondering, does it have voice activation? Yes, it does. B-17 Bomber is a voice activated game, so there you go. And you can see, what does it say here, Vespor?
It talks.
That's right. Baseball. Body Slam Super Pro Wrestling, Vespor. Why didn't we play this for our 16-bit retrospective?
Because it looks terrible.
Yeah, and it's not 16-bit either.
And it's 1988, which was kind of weird.
Yes, Intellivision was bought out by INTV, and they started to release more games. This is one of the later releases for the system, and it still looks Intellivision, yeah. Here's another talking game, Bomb Squad. It's get to the bomb, get to the bomb. Yeah, sort of. I never owned the talking games, but I've seen them all played at one time or another. This is the infamous game. It's a newer game. Do you see what year that was made, Vespor?
2015?
Yeah, so this was a... Let's see what it says. Help Rockford tunnel through 60 caves and 4 bonus levels, collecting diamonds while avoiding hazards like butterflies, fireflies, and falling rocks. Choose your challenge with 5 difficulty level times taking. So they put some newer, quote-unquote, games on here that were made by modders and developers. They made their own games, and it will work on the Intellivision. This works on a regular Intellivision, too. If you can get onto a cartridge, which many people do, it will work, and there's no reason why it doesn't work here. So it is cool they put a brand new, 10-year-old brand new game, yes. Here's the before-mentioned bowling. You remember I showed you the overlay to that? Bowling. Buzz Bombers. Well, you're a, what are you, a spray can, I guess, and you're destroying the bees above. Is that what it looks like to you?
Looks like it to me. Spray incoming bees before they spread flowers and block your path.
Next. Golf. Well, this is 1987, so this is a newer, this is when they had the INTV version of games. This is a newer release. Chip Shot Super Pro Golf. Yes. 1990, even newer. We have Deep Pocket Super Pro Pool and Billiards. Yes, a pool game. That's what you always wanted.
It still amazes me that in 1990 they're still making Intellivision games.
Yeah, it is amazing. Frog Bog, this was actually on the Atari as well. You're just jumping back and forth. You have a time limit. You got to get all the insects you can before the time runs out, pretty much. This is the original golf from 1979. Now you see the difference in the golf over here, right? Look at that. And then you hear the original golf. It's a little different. I'm not going to say much different, but a little different, right? This is more simplistic. The other one has a little more depth to it. A 1986 game, Hover Force. Well, you can read what it's about. I've never played it. King of the Mountain, another new game made for this, 2012. So this is another fan-made game. And what's it about? Climb the mountain, balancing supplies and health as you face bears, boulders, and unpredictable weather. Manage your fire, food, water, and shelter wisely. Too much weight slows you down. Too little puts you at risk. Reach the summit by conserving resources and monitoring your health along the way. So it sounds like a very complex game, actually. That's pretty cool for an Intellivision.
It's Oregon Trail, except up a mountain.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Motocross. Well, it's another racing game. Looks like you're sitting on a red barrel, though, more than a motorcycle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, 1988 game, Super Pro Skiing. It looks like slalom on the NES, pretty much. This is a very famous game. This is one of the most popular games on the system. Night Stalker. You had to survive against all these things in the cave, and they keep getting harder and harder and harder. You gotta pick up the guns and refill your ammo. You have robots killing you and spiders. Pinball. Well, does that look like pinball to you, Vespor?
A very, very simplistic version of it.
Yes. Reversi. That is also known as Othello, right?
That's correct.
Yep, it's pretty much the board game Othello, but it's called Reversi. Sea Battle. Alright, what is it about? Wow, look at all the description. General quarters, all hands man your battle stations, enemy ships off the port bow. You and your opponent are warring fleet admirals. Check enemy position on the strategy chart. Deploy battleships, submarine, MPT boats. Stand by to engage enemy. Check your bearings on the battle chart. Commence firing! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. That's a lot of firing. Dispatch second squadron to repel enemy attackers approaching home base. The battle rages on for naval supremacy. Now, I think the description sounds a lot better than the actual game plays out, right, Russ?
Yes.
I don't think you're going to get all that excitement here. Another famous game, Shark. You start out as a tiny fish. You keep on getting bigger by eating more. Your goal is to avoid the shark or become big enough to deal with it. And yeah, then it just keeps going on and on. It's kind of a cool game. Simple but fun. Sometimes the simplest are the funnest of games, you know? How do we go? Yeah, there we go. So another newer release game from INTV is Super Pro Basketball. This looks pretty good for an Intellivision basketball game, Vespor.
It looks better than basketball on
The
Atari.
That's right, it does. Alright, and then Super Pro Hockey, which doesn't look as good as basketball, I must say. It looks like a little... not as good, right? But still fun for what it is. Now, this was my favorite game. I know it sounds weird. This was me and my brother, and I guess my sister too. We all played Snafu. This was a great game. You're a line, and you must avoid hitting the other lines, which is your opponents. And every time you form a line, it doesn't go away. So you have to keep dodging each other until you hit, and its last line remaining wins. It's simple, but it's a fun racing style game. It's actually a lot of fun.
It's like the early version of I.O. Snakes.
Yes, it is actually. And our least favorite sport, at least mine, soccer. Yes, the 1979 version of soccer, 1-0 games. You can do that now in your own home. Send all hate mail to me. Yes, I don't like soccer. Sorry, everybody. I think it's a silly game, but you know, that's how it goes. Alright, so we have our own version of Space Invaders on here, Vespor. It's called Space Armada.
Yeah, and it even looks almost like Space Invaders.
Yeah, amazing how everyone copied everyone back then. That's great. Space Battle, it's a very simplistic Star Trek style game. You're in outer space, you gotta go to quadrants, you gotta get the enemies before they get you, and it's a lot of juggling around. I was never a fan of this game. I owned it, but I think it's not even too complex. It's not that much fun to me, but I don't like those type of games. And we have another IntelliVoice game, Space Spartans. There you go, that's Space Spartans. It has all the quadrants. It's very similar to Space Battle, actually, except it talks, yes. And now we have another sports game maybe on INTV. It is Super Pro Volleyball. Well, does that look like volleyball to you, Vespor?
Looks like all the other sports games, actually.
Oh, no, but you got the guy going boom. With the...
just different, I guess, poses.
Yes, that's right. Alright, what do we got next? Alright, another new one. Stadium Mud Buggies.
That doesn't look too bad for 1989.
Not bad at all, actually. Star Strike. Now this is, if you remember the commercials we showed you, this is what they were bragging about. You get a real explosion at the end. This is the game, Star Strike. So you see the planet up here will explode if you don't make it to the end. They destroy the planet. That was the whole thing. Remember that commercial with Plimpton? We have a planet that explodes. Yes, that was this game that he was talking about.
I know. It looks much better on HD TV.
Yeah, sure does. Sub Hunt. Well, what is this? 1982. I guess you're in a submarine. Yes, so you're in a submarine and you're destroying. So there you go. Super Pro Decathlon. Well, this is pretty much track and field, just made for the Intellivision.
Yep.
Super Pro Football. Now, this doesn't look bad. It looks a lot better than 10-Yard Fight. I gotta say that at least.
Yeah, but for 1986, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So it's football, a real sport, not soccer, folks. Football. That's right. Send all hate mail to Vespor.
No, not really.
Well, it's worth a try. All right, next we got a game I never heard of. Takeover. What is this about? Conquer your opponent's capital city in a battle of strategy and tactics, controlling armies, fleets, and cities across dynamic, randomly generated maps. Build roads, settle territories, and engage intense battles. Capture the capital and claim the game. Sounds like Civilization, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I guarantee it's not going to be anything close to what it says.
Yes, I don't see how this splotchy color on the screen is all that, but hey, it's a cool tennis. Let's see how tennis looks. Not bad. It's tennis. You know, you definitely can see it's two players on a green field. You know, it's not bad. Let's see what else we got. Thin Ice. Alright, so what is this game about? Duncan is causing chaos on the ice, eating shrimp cocktails for speed, and knocking enemies into water by breaking the ice beneath them. With each level, more enemies join the chaos, pushing Duncan to state faster and that sort of stuff. So it's one of those, you gotta keep on avoiding the enemies, but it gets harder and harder and harder and harder until you can't keep up with it anymore. It's one of those type of games. It's a fun action game. This is a very famous game too, Thunder Castle. This was one of the newer ones too. And it had 3 different levels, and you had to avoid the monsters, but you had to get them from behind. You got some power-ups, and each of the stage had different enemies to deal with. This is actually one of the better games on the system too. This one has become very famous. I think Vespor saw someone playing this once. Remember, we were watching that. Someone played this, and it's really cool. This is a 1987 game, and it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons. You're exploring around maps. You got to defeat enemies. You get items, and you get to equip things.
Sounds actually kind of fun, but it's probably going to get held back by the simplicity of the system.
Yes, that of course that is the problem. You can only do so much on the system. All right, this is an early release triple action. You got to be racing cars, you got to be tanks, or you got to be biplanes. It was a 2-player game, and you had to compete in all 3 of them. It was pretty much to compete with Atari, because Atari had exactly similar things to this, and that's pretty much all this is. So what's next? Triple Challenge. All right, so it has chess, checkers, and backgammon. Our favorite games, right, Vespor?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it is backgammon, I can definitely say that. And there's chess, sort of. And what else? And there's the checkers, alright. Next, Utopia. This was like an early SimCity. It really is. You control one island, the second player controls the other island, and let's see what it says. Govern your island, balancing resources, housing, and industry to keep your people happy. Protect against hurricanes, rebels, and pirates while building a thriving economy. Score the most points and become the greatest ruler of all. So pretty much you gotta make sure your island is better than the other. The sad thing about this game is it's only 2-player. You can play 1 player, but it loses its luster with you just playing and the other side not doing anything. But it's fun for what it is. I've seen many people play this. This is a popular game. I just wish it was 1 player. That's the sad part about this game. But it's really like one of the first, build your own everything type of game. Before there was SimCity, there was Utopia, yes. Vectron. Well, that's Vectron. Yes, not one of my favorites, but it is a pretty complex game for it being a 1983 game. They did a pretty good job with it. And that's every game on the system. So I'll show you 3 games, and then we'll show you how to get games onto the system. Because I think that's what everyone wants. Oh, where's He-Man, right? We don't see He-Man on here. Where's Dungeons and Dragons, right? We're missing a lot of famous games on the system, isn't it?
Yes, we are.
So how do we get those games on here? Well, stay tuned, folks, and we'll show you. But let's make sure everything works here, right? We want to make sure that the system we got works. So I'm going to show you a simple game, Astrosmash. It doesn't get much easier than that. But you're probably wondering, what about all these other options here, right? What do all these things do down here? Start game is you push enter. We're not going to do that yet. Show controls, let's try that. I'll push number 1. There you go. So these are the overlays, all right? This shows you where the controller would do. You can pause the game by pushing that. Fire, 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 fire. You go into hyperspace, single shot, or auto fire. That's your options. and this shows you a zoomed in version of it. And obviously this will move it back and forth. Very simple game, but it's fun for what it is. So how do you go back? You push the clear button. There you go. How do you start it? Well, you push enter. There you go. Isn't that cool? On an HDMI TV, you're playing Astrosmash. Who would have thought, right? There you go.
Looks good, I gotta admit.
And the control's great too. Takes a while to get used to because I haven't played this in like 30 years or however long it's been now. I'm using the manual fire. There's a way to do auto fire as you saw, but we're just showing a sample of the game. It's Astrosmash and it gets harder and harder. But this is a fun game, you know, it starts off so simply, but then it gets crazy, and that's when the game gets a lot of fun. When you get to the levels where like everything is falling on you at once, then the game gets to become a fun. It's challenging, but it's beatable. This is one of those games you could really rack up high scores in this game. Because you have to make sure to get these bombs, because if the bomb lands on the ground, it's instant explosion. They're like super bombs, and they'll destroy everything if you let them land. Now, I don't know the storyline behind it. Is it alien doing this? Is it just happens to be a meteor shower with bombs being thrown in? I don't know. There's never really a deep story to these games. But you just gotta use your imagination. So you see every time the color changes, that means you got a new difficulty now. So now it's gonna get a little harder. Alright, so it works great, right, Vespor?
Absolutely. So
should I try something different?
Try something different.
Alright, so remember what we said. If you push reset, what happens? It actually goes back to the screen. So I guess if you're not sitting near the console, you can also hold the top button and push number 5. That's another shortcut, alright? You can either push the reset, or if you're sitting all the way over there, you just push the top left button and number 5 at the same time, and you'll get back to the screen. Alright, Sylvester, should I show Snafu, the game I was talking about before?
Go for it.
Alright, so this is the game I used to love playing. I'm sure I'm going to be terrible. I haven't played this game again in like 40 years, but let's see the controls for it first. Oh, that's cool. Now that brings back memories. Look at that. Is there any point to any of this? No, you don't need this overlay for this game, because do you see anything that's different? It's the same controller, so there's nothing different that you need this, right?
No, you don't need it for anything.
But it's cool to have it. That's the whole point. When you put the overlay in, you feel like you're playing
I want my controller to look pretty.
Exactly. That's all it is. You don't need the overlay for this game. All right, so let's start it up. It is... Oh, wait, we didn't click number 4. What are the options, right? Oh, okay. So you can just change. If you made a mistake, I speak French. Whoops. Parlez-vous français? How do I change it? Then you go to language. Yes. What does display do though? Oh, okay. You can actually do 4x3 with the borders if you wanted to.
That is actually very cool.
Yes. So how do you go back? You push clear. How do we start it? You push enter. There we go. Snafu. That's right. There you go. Alright, alright, so how do I change all this? Alright, select game, push enter. How many rounds? 3 rounds. There we go. Alright, so now the race is on. It's on the red, and the goal is to try to block all these others off without breaking myself also at the same time. Alright, so they're done.
So a maritime for blue now.
Yep, he's trapped, so it's me and yellow pretty much. And I'm going to try to trap him.
Yellow trapped himself.
There we go. So now I just have to survive, and he's dead.
The AI not that good.
No, it's a 1981 game, what do you expect? So there you go. So Ramsis is winning 3-2-1-0. Yeah, you get however long you survive is how many points you get. The longer you survive, the better. Oh, they're dead. Okay. There we go, I trapped him. Alright, yellow's gone. And I think I won this one too.
I like how they sort of pop like a balloon.
And you got fun music when it's just 2 players. There you go. Of course, it's more fun against real players because the AI is kind of dumb in this, right?
Yes, very.
Uh-oh, I trapped myself. At least in him. Yeah, I think I lost this one. Yeah, I might as well just sacrifice myself because it's over. So blue probably won this one. No, the blue took a dumb turn. Oh no, it just opened up for. Alright, let's see who wins. So it's computer versus computer here. Oh, if yellow wins, I might win this. Let's see what happens. Is this as exciting as it? Done it. Alright, blue's about to lose, so let's see how many points I get for all this. There you go. I won 6-5. That's where I won the game.
There you go. Now, head back.
Alright, so you want to pick the third game here?
Do the space, whatever that one was, where Plimpkin was talking about it.
Oh, yeah, which one is that?
More to the right. Star Strike, wasn't it?
Oh, Star. Okay, yeah. Let's see what the controls are. Alright, so Warp 1, Warp 2, Warp 3, lasers, and bombs. Oh boy. Alright, this is going to be fun. There we go. Second bomb. Alright, what did I do? Oh, here they come. I guess I can bomb them, right? No. Ah.
He flew into the ground, folks. Hey, look, it's America.
Uh-oh, you get one life, don't you? Are they going to destroy the planet? Yep, there it goes. That was what Plumpkin was talking about, everybody. We get an explosion, right?
Well, thanks, Ramses, the planet got blown up.
Well, it was worth the trouble.
Good job there. Nice shooting, Tex.
So what happens now? You gotta push reset, I guess. Alright, so you're probably all wondering, how do you get games onto this? I think that's what everyone's been waiting for, right? Take out ye old handy USB stick. Now, I already played around with it. I knew what to do. But there's actually a lot more work that goes into it than just, throw on games. You can throw on games and it will work, but there is more you want to do with it. But let me show you what happens when you plug in the USB stick. There's a USB port on the back of it, and you want to plug this into it. So let me show you. It says USB right here.
Do you want me to do it? Oh, you got it.
There we go. So I pre-set up everything from the letter A, 4 to A. So numbers through A is done. Backgammon is only done because they call it actually APBA backgammon. But yeah, everything else is done here. So as you can see, it will look like this if you just put the ROMs on. So you see how it says Zaxxon. There's a Zaxxon ROM on here, but I didn't add anything. Fortress, I totally updated. So I made it right. I got the pictures on there. I got the description. I got the year it's made. We got rotating pictures. We even have controls if I push number 1. So I got everything updated on this. And you're probably wondering, Ramsis, how I did it? Well, I will explain in a moment. So stay tuned. I will be explaining exactly how you too can set up your USB so it looks exactly like what came with the game. And technically, once you have that USB set up, you never had to go back to the default games. You can have every single game on here and looking exactly like what came with this system. You never had to take that USB out, and you can even add more if more games become available. So it's actually very cool, and that's why I said you really don't need an Intellivision. This is all you need. If you want every game, it plays game accurate with the controller. It really is. I mean, this is all you need. And if you want to make your own displays, hey, you can print these out. It's not like that hard to do, you know? All right, so I'll show you what I've done so far. All right, there we go. So we got Advanced D&D. Remember how I was saying, hey, it doesn't come with Dungeons & Dragons? Well, guess what? Now we have Dungeons & Dragons on this system, Vespor. And this is the one I remember growing up with.
Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, yeah.
Yeah, so you can have descriptions and you can have text. Now, this is an unreleased game, so you can even get unreleased games onto the system.
The Adventures of Tron.
Yes. And then you got Airstrike. And here's Baseball. And you can even have newer games. Antarctic Tales Enhanced, made in 2023.
Yep. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
And Armor Battle, and we have the same games again. Astrosmash, Atlantis, an IO Magic game you can have on here, and Auto Racing. Like I said, it goes all. I didn't finish all the discussion. I just wanted to show you everybody what I did here so far. So then you get to the B game. Like I said, I didn't do B-17 Bomber. We'll do that now. I think that's the one we'll go over together. I'll do all the work for the B-17 Bomber and show you exactly how to get it to look like this. Alright, but let me make sure it works, right? We'll play a game we haven't played yet. Dungeons & Dragons, one of our favorites, right?
Hey, go ahead, show it.
So these are the controllers for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. So you see, the thing of this game is you use the buttons to control. That's the annoying part. Because this is just directioning. This is how you actually move in the game, is with this, yes. So let's go for it. I'll just show you very quick. It works, right? It's loading.
Oh, absolutely. That's the best thing.
There we go. So now remember I said, oh no, why am I not moving? Because you need the
overlay
to move, yes. So remember you had to go through the castle to get, the mountains to get the key, so you can't go through there yet. And then as you move closer to the mountains, there you go. Purple is one difficulty. Gray is another difficulty. We'll go in there. There you go. And that's how you fire. So now once you're in, see, this is where it's a little confusing. Once you're in there, now you use it, and then you use the directions, the numbers to fire. So we'll just explore a little bit just to show you it's working. Alright, you hear a bat? That means there's a bat close by. There it is. So, oops.
Shoot it.
There we go. Now, how many arrows do I have? You push 0. 1 arrow. I guess you only start with 3. Huh? So we're kind of in trouble because we're out of arrows. But as you can see, it works fine. This game is playing perfectly. And now I'm going to show you how you too can make exactly this if you want your own USB, because it'll look like this. You can put all the games on, but this is all you'll get if you do absolutely nothing. It'll work. Like I'll show you, it will work. I'm going to push Zax on. There you go. It works, right? The game works fine. But
By Sega.
Is that all you want though? Or do you want it to look like everything else here, right? So that now I will show you. So we'll be right back. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. Alright, we are back, and now I'm going to show you how to update your USB drive so that you too can add games to your Intellivision Sprint. Now, it's easy and it's hard. You can see I already started the setup of it. I knew the Intellivision Sprint was arriving well before it arrived, obviously, so I started setting up everything. And as I told you in the video, I have a lot of games already set up. So this is how all your games are going to have to look if you want this to look like the carousel that you saw in the default settings of the Intellivision Sprint. When you don't plug in the flash drive, it shows you the carousel. Once you plug in the flash drive, then it'll find any games that you have available on the flash drive. And if you don't have all this with it, it'll just have this. It'll just have, here's Crazy Clones, here's Defender, here's Demon Attack, here's Dig Dug. So it will just find it, but it'll have nothing at all except for a blank white box and the title, and that's it. And it'll be fine. If you're happy, hey, I don't care, I don't need it to look aesthetically pleasing, then good, you're fine, don't worry about any of this. But I think the majority of you are going to want to put the effort in. You know, it makes it look a little more special. It's the fun of having a system like this, and that they give you the ability to do this, I think is another plus by both Atari and the developers of the Intellivision Sprint. I think it's great that they give you the option, because now everyone gives you the option. You buy the NES Mini, yes, you can add games to it, but you have to go through a lot of unofficial methods. This is an easy way to do it, and they made it so you can do this. They said that you will be able to play ROMs that you own on this, and that is true. You can play ROMs you own. Again, how you find them, that's up to you. I cannot give you that information. But once you find the ROMs of games you own, then you can add it to the flash drive. So the first step is plug in the flash drive to your computer. Now, how big a flash drive you need, it's hard to say. I had a 32 gigabyte, and I think it's going to be more than enough. Even with all the files we are adding, a 32 gigabyte flash drive should be enough. But is 16 enough? Probably. Is 8 enough? Maybe. I don't want to sell you short. I would say play it safe, 16, 32, 64. You definitely won't need more than 64. But experiment. And it also matters how many games you want on this. Some will want, oh my god, every single game I own, quote unquote, and some homebrew games that I've purchased, so that stuff you can put on there. But some might only want, hey, I only want like a few games. I want He-Man, I want, you know, baseball, whatever. I want only a few select games. Then that's different. Then you're going to want a smaller one, and that's it. You're happy. But if you want to go a little larger, you have more games, you have more things you own, then go as large as you want. Flash drives are not expensive anymore. You go to Walmart, they are actually very affordable. They have the PNY or the ONN. I wouldn't get the ONN, that's their brand, but if you want to, I'm not going to stop you. Some people have better luck than me and Vespor have. The ONN stuff is Walmart brand, and there's a reason why it's cheaper. Its quality is not as good, but again, up to you. So I have a 32 gigabyte flash drive plugged in here, and I've already started working on it. And I will explain what I did here because, yeah, this is how it's going to have to look. Like, you saw Fortress on the screen, and that's a custom-made game, by the way, but it's very popular. It's been freely available for a very long time. This is a very widely available game, and it is Tetris. Yes, Fortress is Tetris. Someone made it, and you need this many files. So you see what it says down here? 9 items selected. So you need 9 different files to get it looking like it did on the screen there. All right, and we're going to do B-17 Bomber as promised. So let's go down. I left it available. That is the last game that I haven't updated yet. So you see I did auto racing already. You saw it on the screen. B-17 Bomber. Now, I already have the INT file, and that you'll have to get yourself. That's the game itself. The game itself is an INT. Now, you don't need an INT file because actually it will work with different types of file types. All right, so it'll work with INT, which is short for Intellivision. It'll work with ROM files. ROM files are pretty much what everything is now. That's just the game's information in a file. It'll be .rom or .bin will also work, BIN. So all those formats will work, but none of these games, well, I don't want to say none, but many of the games won't work with a config file. So you see what I have here. I already found it, the CFG file. This is important. Now again, this is there's a lot of information. All right, there's a lot of information. I realize not everyone's computer expert, not everyone's going to understand this. I'm going to try to make it simple, but it's not simple. You do have to be a little familiar with Windows, or if you're using obviously an OS, Apple OS, obviously you could do it with that, but you have to sort of understand what I'm talking about. But I'll try to make it as simple as possible. And I will throw links everywhere on the description. I know everyone wants links. Makes it easy. I will try to throw all the links for all the information. Now, someone was kind enough to make a Sprint file cheat sheet, and I'm going to show you that on the screen right now. Here it is. So this is actually what I used to figure all this out. Like, Ramsis is not Mr. Computer. I know a lot of stuff, and I understood everything, but I didn't know all the size types and how to do it. This is how I was able to figure it out. Very important. So these are all the things, not the QR code. That you can actually ignore. The QR code you can fully ignore, but if you want to include it, you can. I have no interest in including it, but it's on the sheet because it is an available option. So what Intellivision Sprint has is if you want to get a copy of the instructions, you use the QR code, and you can do that for every game also. There's a way to find it or create it. I have no interest in that. I'm not going to use the QR code stuff, but it's an option if you want to do it, and you pretty much just follow the directions to do the QR code because you'll make it a PNG file. That's a picture file. It'll be PNG format. Everything picture-wise has to be PNG, by the way. Very important. So you do need some method to turn images into PNG. That's very important as well. And there are many programs that will do that. There's free ones. There's expensive ones like Corel or Photoshop. They'll all do that. I happen to have Photoshop Elements, and that's a cheaper version of Photoshop. It works fine. That's what I use for everything that I do with Vespor for our show. It will work perfectly here, and it already has. I already showed you. I was able to get everything formatted to PNG files with the little sample I showed you. So what's the first thing you want to do is the box art. So here's box, C-B-O-X, and it says you have to make the file 186 by 256. So what do we have to do first? We have to find B-17 Bomber, and I'm not going to keep saying it like the funny voice that everybody does from the game, but we have to find the B-17 Bomber Intellivision box art. All right, so you go to a website like this. See, like this site is Launchbox, but you can really go anywhere. You don't even have to use Launchbox. You can use Launchbox. It has every single game, and I've been able to get a lot of the information from here. See, it has all the box arts. You click on it, and you're able to. Like, you even had Fortress. That was the homebrew made in 1999, and you go into Fortress, and look, there's the overlay, and here's a box right here, and oh, here's some pictures. So it does have everything. I'll put the link to this actual site because I found this was a good one. I was doing a lot of search. I found this one actually had a lot of information. If you want to add some of the games you own, it'll have a lot that you can use. So B-17 Bomber is right here, and it shows you all the information there. You click on it, and we can even use this text to make it. We can use this information to change everything. But the first thing we want is the overlay. So this is the overlay for B-17 Bomber. We're going to need that too. We have to have overlay information in the game. So make sure to save that. Save image as. And it gives you a few samples. Like this is a cleaner version of it. This is more higher resolution. You can see it's 1500 by 21, so that's a higher resolution. And you know something? I think we should use that. That's that's a much cleaner looking box, isn't it? Let's use that. Like I said, you can get it anywhere, but you want the best looking. This is going to go on an HDMI system. So the better quality, the higher resolution, the better. And then we don't need sides of the box. It's cool they have it. We don't need the tape, but I wish they did have an option for the cartridge. It would be cool if they showed what the cartridge looked like. I think that'd be great too, but unfortunately, no, that is not how it works. What we need are these two pictures, because remember, you can also add pictures. You saw in the carousel it had pictures in the background. Well, you have to put the pictures in too. So we'll take that. That's the title screen. B-17 Bomber. Oh, well, I said I wouldn't do it, and I did. I'm sorry, it's a bit of... Alright, and we get the other picture. Not one of my favorite games. It really isn't. I have played it before. Like I said, all this stuff, it's terrible, but it is a very cool game because in 1982 you had a game talking. Alright, so this is everything you need. Now, I was able to find a copy of the overlay. You're going to need this too. This is, remember on the screen it showed you what it looked like in the overlay. Well, this is it. The file is actually very readily available. Again, I'll give you links. And someone was able to actually get this image, which the game uses itself, and we're going to insert the overlay right into this. So it'll look exactly like what came with the game. So this is very cool that people figure this out. You know, you have a lot of great people working with Atari Age and who are Intellivision experts who do all this work, and they are amazing people, really. Support these people, please. You know, we ask you for our support all the time, of course. Please support us too. We love doing this for you, but you have to remember, there are people that are obsessed with this stuff, that love this stuff, that grew up with this stuff, that have such passion into it. And if I had more time, if Vespor had more time, we'd be part of that too. But we are very busy. You know, as you can see, we can't update every single day. But we love this stuff too. And I'm so glad there's such an active community. You know, join people on Atari Age. Support the Intellivision fandom. Support the people who do this stuff. And I thank everyone who did this, and hopefully now I'm spreading their hard work for you also, because they did put a lot of hard work into this, and we all appreciate it very much. So this is the overlay that you need to put the overlays into. So this is the controller facsimile here, and you're going to put the overlay into that. So that's everything we need. And we also need the JSON file. A JSON file, that's... You're probably all wondering, hey, what about the information you're going to put in, all the text and all the background information? Yeah, that's the JSON file, and we're going to have to edit that as well. That'll be the last step, all right? And that's probably the hardest, but again, I'll put a link to someone, and I'm going to give full credit. I don't remember who it was. I promise you I will put it in the description who did this. Someone did a lot of great work. I did a lot of searching before I was able to do this myself, and someone did a great job here, and it's very appreciated. But you do need the JSON files to get everything going. All right, so that is everything we're going to need now to change our B-17 Bomber file so that it works on the USB flash drive. Now, you're going to have to do this for every single game, so it is a long process. This is not easy. Like I said, if you just want to throw the games on, you're done. Just make sure they are ROM, bin with the config file, and Intellivision file. Now, the first thing you have to do is get the configuration file. That's another step that's important before you even start that. Now you'll see, oh, well, Ramsis, you already had that. Yeah, I already had that because, again, I started setting things up before we even got to this point. But without this, it might not work. You need this config file. So how do you find that? You got to go to this spreadsheet here, and I'll give you the link to it. This shows map number for every single game. Well, not every single, but I'll say 95% of everything. I'm sure there's some homebrew games missing from this, but all the major release games are on here. Definitely, I could definitely attest to that. So we go down to B-17 Bomber, and you see it has the number 0. So you need the number 0 config file, all right? And I'll show you the link to that also. There's a way to download all of them. You download all 10 config files, and they're all numbered 0 through 9. So you see? And that's what the numbers mean. So with that file, and again, I'll give you links to both, you download all 10 of them, because you're going to need it. But don't keep renaming them. What you do is you copy it. So I would copy 0, and I would put it here. And you have to rename it exactly. And you can rename the Intellivision files to what you want. You have to rename the config file. So this would be... looks like that. This would look like that when I put it in. So, oh, hey, I got the 0 config file. Oh, well, this goes to B-17 Bomber because that's the configuration. And remember, make sure to look at this. This shows you B-17 Bomber is 0. You must match it. So if I was looking for Body Slam, that pro wrestling game, that would be a 2. So you would copy 2 and then change it to Super Pro Wrestling. But this is B-17 Bomber 0. Make sure you have the right one in the folder. Very important. And then also very important is you must, and this is a must, this is very important, exactly what you are naming this file must be what you are naming the config file. So an easy way to do it is just right-click, rename, copy, And then Control V is paste, by the way. So you click Control V. There you go. It is exactly B-17 space capital B armor.config. It has to match exactly, and this is the important part. The config file must match exactly with what the .int or the .rom or the .bin file is. It has to match exactly. So once you have that, now we're good. So that's the first step. Once you got the ROM, then you got the config file. Those have to match. And the numbers are on that sheet. Again, look at the link below. That'll show you. All right, so now comes the artwork part. All right, so we got this part. Here's file types. We did that. And then we'll do the description last. That'll be the last one. You can use just regular notepad to do that. That'll be easy. But this is done. All right, so we have their example is Pitfall 3, which is a custom game, by the way, and it matches Pitfall 3 configuration. So that's the first step. Next, we want the box art. All right, so box art is the next step. And that's easy because you don't really have to change the file so much. You just have to make sure it is these dimensions. So we're going to open up Photoshop. There we go. And we got Photoshop open. All right, so what do? We want to drag in our first picture here, and that's going to be the box art. All right, so I'm going to drag the box art right here. Here is B-17 Bomber, and we're dragging it in. There it is. So that's the B-17 Bomber box art. All right, but it is definitely the wrong size. All right, so what did our cheat sheet say it had to be? 186 by 256. All right, we got to change it. 186 by 256. That's exactly what you do. Width 186, height 256. Push OK. Now it's always zoomed out. Well, we got to get it back in here. Let's do one by one. There you go. That's the actual size. That looks perfect, right? That looks exactly like what it should be. So what do? You have to file save as, and it has to be a PNG file. Remember, that's the important part. Everything has to be PNG because PNG is actually the best. JPEGs get pixelated. PNG are supposed to be more stretchy. They keep the aesthetics. They keep everything looking right. PNG are also transparent, so you want that. So PNG files is why they use PNG files. So you save it as just the name. Now, again, it's very important. I mentioned for the configuration file, everything has to be named the same. Well, that's the same for the art too. So look what it says. Pitfall 3 PNG. Well, we have B-17 Bomber PNG. So that's what we have to name it as. So we're going to do that right now. It's B-17 capital B Armor PNG. That's all you have to do for the large box art size. And it must be exactly space, capitals, numbers, spacing. Everything has to be exactly what your ROM file's named. We named it capital B-17 space capital B OMBER, and that's it. That's exactly what we named it. And we'll name it as save it as a PNG. Now we want to change this to the small box version because remember, when you're in the carousel, you're moving around the thumbnails as well. So you need the smaller version of it. We have the big box for when it's being displayed, but now we need the smaller version for when it's in the carousel and being moved around and used otherwise. So that has to be dash small, but we have to change the resolution first. The size must be 148 by 204. All right, so let's go back to it. Image. So 148 by 204 is the small version of it. Okay, so you see it zoomed back a little bit. And now we have to save that again as a PNG. Now the good news is you can just click on the old one and now the name is the same. You don't have to keep remembering the name every time because now you can just click on another file that has it. But what is important is you have to now add small because this is the small version of the image and that's what the Intellivision Sprint calls those files. Underscore small, very important. That's the number next to 0, shift, the button next to 0, underscore. That's the underscore button, small. And it's lowercase small. Everything else has to match, but it must also be underscore small, and that's the secondary image. All right. Like I said, there's a lot of steps. It's not hard once you learn it, but there are some steps if you want this to look right. It's worth the effort, though. If you're going to be using this as your mainstay in television system, which I think many of you should and will, you want to do it right. All right. These are our first two pictures. This is the large size. This is the small. It has dash small. That's our first two steps. All right. And now we need the overlay. That's right. So how do we do overlay? Let's go to our little cheat sheet, as they call it. Next is overlay. So that's this right here. The first column is the overlay. So you can see we have Astrosmash, we have Operation Cloudfire, and we have Pitfall 3. Now you're going to want big overlay. This regular size overlay, and then there's big overlay. We're going to want the big overlay option here. So that's going to be 300 by 478. Where's the overlay? Right here. Now, also important is these are PNG files. And I know I'm saying a lot of stuff that won't make sense to people, but PNG has transparency, and I already mentioned that. So you want to keep the transparency, which means white part should be cut out. It's not going to be transparent if you have the white space. That's going to actually show up. But if you get rid of the white space by selecting it like that and deleting it, see how you have boxes under? That's transparent. That's what this means. This is all transparent now. All that is cleared out. So you want to make sure you get rid of all white space. And again, not required. This is all if you just want to make it look pretty, nice. Not required. You can have the white space. It'll work fine. But if you want that extra little step to make it look like it really belongs on the system, and this is how they did it, you do that. Now, we still have some white space here. So believe it or not, I'm going to make like a little slither and remove it. Why not? There we go. Yeah, that's exactly right. But we do have to resize this. All right, that's the next step. Oh, actually, yeah, we'll get rid of a little slither here too. And I mean a little slither. There we go. Perfect. I'm very happy with that. So we have to remember the size. 300, 478. So let's do that. 300. Oh, it's already properly sized. So obviously it came in the right size already. This was made exactly for this purpose. All right. So what do we save it as? Well, according to the cheat sheet, you save it as big overlay. All right. So file, save as. It's going to be PNG. Yep. And again, click on any of the old ones. There you go. Now we know the exact name of the file. Underscore lowercase big underscore overlay, all lowercase. So there you go. B17 bomber underscore big underscore overlay. Now it has to all be lowercase, and then it has to also be the dimensions I just showed you. If you don't do the dimensions I showed you, it is going to be all messed up. It is made specifically for these dimensions. You better make sure it is. It might still work, but the image will either be too big, too small, and it'll look weird. And it might mess with the system. I don't know. I have no proof in that. I think stick to the sizes if you want this to work right. I don't want any of you to have any problems. Please resize this properly. That's the best advice I can give you. All right, so save it. And that's our first overlay. Now, we're going to use, I'm going to cut it now that we saved it. X to cut, Control X. And we're going to use the overlay. Remember I showed you someone was nice enough to provide this file for the overlay. This is exactly what the Intellivision Sprint uses to show the overlay in the sample when you go to the instruction. You remember we show the instructions and it says, oh, this is what the overlay looks like in it. Well, this is what you need. So you paste it, and there it is. Well, that doesn't look right. Hey, that's filling out the whole thing. Right, you got to resize it. So you select the box, and you want it to fit perfectly into it. So we got it that way, and then you got to move all the corners here. Yeah, you want it to fill up nice. You gotta do that. Oh, that still looks wrong, Ramsis. That's right, it does look wrong. Let's fix it more. There you go. And then, oh, that looks wrong too, Ramsis. Yes, that's right. And let's make sure everything's nice. You want the colors to go right to the edges. So you see how you have the border? You want it to fill it up nice and snug like that. And then you push OK. There you go. Now that looks exactly like what you have on the Intellivision Sprint, does it not? But we have to resize it. Now, I don't have to resize it because it's already automatically sized, but this is the size it's supposed to be. 228, 478. 228, 478, all right? So that's exactly what you have to make that file if it's not already, and it should be, all right? Again, I'll provide links. So what is this going to be saved as? Just overlay. Get rid of the big part. So a shortcut for this, if you want to save this properly, is File, Save As, PNG, and then you click on big overlay, and all you have to do is delete the underscore and the big, and that's it. So now we have capital B -17 space, capital B underscore lowercase overlay. All right, and that's the next part. That'll be for when you go to the instructions, it will show you it in the controller. Save it. Okay, we're almost there. I know it sounds like a lot, but once you get this going, it's going to go fast, I assure you. Trust Ramsis doesn't lead you wrong. He tries to give you proper information. We have to resize the pictures. So we're almost there. So let's get rid of this overlay. Again, we don't need extra files. Next is the pictures. We have 2 pictures. You can have 3 pictures. I think you can go as many as you want, as long as you keep changing the number. 3 is the maximum I would do. You know, we're talking about instructions. We're not talking about, important documents here. If you want more than 3, I think you can. You just have to keep on upping the number each time. But 3 is the most the sample uses. So I'll show you. 3 is the most screenshots it shows you. But I think you can keep going. You can do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many pictures you want. But 3 is the sample. That's what I'm going to stick with. We only have 2. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use 2 pictures. All right. So we drag the picture in. There it is. Well, you can already see that's way too small. For an HDMI screen, that is way too small. So what is this supposed to be? 640 by 400. So you can see our cheat sheet shows that. So image, resize, 640 by 400. Yes, there we go. And now it is the right size. So let's make sure. 640 by 400. That looks nice and rectangular. Yes, that'll look great. So what are we supposed to save it as? Well, it's supposed to be the name of your Intellivision file underscore snap and the number image that it is. All right, so that's what we're going to do next. Save as. It's a PNG. Yes. Again, click on the name of the file. Yep, it's B17 Bomber. Underscore snap 1. All right, snap 1. That's your first snapshot. Remember, snap is short for snapshot. Underscore lowercase snap, and then the number of the picture it is, and you start with the number 1 and work your way up to however many you have. Snap 1. There you go. That's our first. And it has to be PNG files, very important. But we do need a second image. That's right. But we got to resize it. What was the size again? 640 by 400. 640 by 400. There you go. Looks nice. So now we got to save it as a PNG. Let's click on the first picture because that's a nice shortcut, because then all we have to do is backspace 2. There you go. That's our second image. Alright, so that is the hard part. We got all of this out of the way. The QR code I'm skipping. It's up to you. If you want to do the QR code, find them, size it to this, and then also put in the file, and you'll save it as underscore QR code. I have no intention of doing that. It's up to you. If you want to do it, do it. But we finished everything besides that, except for description. You're like, oh, well, how do you get those nice descriptions on the screen? Yes. And as you saw, I didn't finish all of them either. There were some that were empty because I didn't finish all the description. The description is not a hard part, but it's you got to get the right file. And I'll give you a link to a sample of it. This file, so this is the JSON. And then you can get the information from anywhere. So we'll change it. We already know it's called B-17 Bomber. That is the name of our game. Case. It is a one-player game. Yes, one-player game. So let's change that. Who released the game? Well, according to the information here, it was made by Mattel themselves. Mattel made this game, so it's Mattel Electronics is the maker of this game. When did it come out? 1982, so that year is correct. So now we need a description. Now the original file is going to have languages. Remember how you can play in any language? Well, you can actually add every language here. So if you're German, I think they had the German, the French, Spanish, and the English. So you can add the language for everything. I'm English speaking, so I'm only going to word the English, but they have every language also. And you can actually translate every language onto here if you want to do it that way. That's up to you. I'm just going to keep it to the English, but you can add anything you want. So what do? You just take some of this description here. That looks good to me. You copy it, and you pop it right in between the quotes. It must be in between the quotes. There we go. Europe, 1943. You control a B-17 Flying Fortress. Your mission, select the target of opportunity, fly to it, drop your bombs, and return safely to base. Enemy fighters try to shoot you down, and black burst in the sky as you start your bomb run. The voices of your crew announce approaching fighter planes and targets as you play pilot, machine runner, bombardier, and navigator. Keep them flying. And there you go. That sounds like a very good description to me. And that's all you need, by the way, to get that descriptor file. But no, you have to also save this as B-17 Bomber. Yes, this too must match the exact name of your INT or your ROM or your bin file. Must be exactly the same. All right, so now I think we're ready for the fun part. We are going to move all the files we just edited. Right, let's get rid of the one we don't need. That won't confuse it. So everything that has B-17 Bomber now is ready to go into the file itself. So you cut them. Now we're going to paste it in. Watch, see, we have the two B-17 Bomber files. They're waiting for their friends here to help them out. We refresh the screen. Go down to B-17 Bomber. And there you go. That's how you do it. Yes, that took a long time, folks. That's a long session here, but that's how you do it. All right, that is how you do it. And you'll have to do that every single time for every game you want to add on to here. So as you can see, it is a long process. But once it's done, it's done. That's the good news. But it's a long process that you got to keep on doing and doing and doing and doing. But now B-17 Bomber works, and that's it. That's how you do it for every single game on your fob if you want it to look like exactly what came with this system. Definitely worth the effort. And I think it's definitely a fun project to do. This is like one of those, oh, this is fun. I want to play with it. I want to have fun with it. You can add your own funny pictures to it, too. You can do whatever you want. That's the fun thing. Like, it doesn't have to be, serious pictures. You can actually put, like a funny face and write B-17. I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. That's the fun of this. It's fully customizable. But the fact that you can make it look exactly like the default games that came with it, I think that's great. Let's get back to me live and Vespor here and continue our look back at the system now that we got that done. And that's how you do your own customizations to the USB stick. So you see USB B-17 Bomber, that's all the description, that's the year, that's everything, the pictures, and then you just keep going on it. It's a long process, but it's a one-time process. Once you get it all done, that's it. You never have to worry about it again. But it is important to follow the details I told you, alright? So if you want to go back in the video, check again, I show you exactly how to do it, remember that. Alright, so that's it. That was the Intellivision Sprint Vespor. So what do you think?
I think it was actually a pretty good idea. I really think that they need to make more systems, especially like a ColecoVision like this, where you can just upload the games onto it, and then you don't have to worry about buying multi-cards.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everyone's going to be upset, no cartridge, but I just showed you, you can put every single game you want on a USB stick. Every single game. But I think it's great. You don't need the cartridge. The games play exactly as if you had the cartridge in there. There's no reason to be like, oh no, without the cartridge it's a deal breaker. No. Would it be cool to play with the cartridge? Yes, it would be cool. But is there any difference? No. I mean, Snafu played exactly the same. I still suck at the pumpkin game, so yeah, I mean, nothing's different here. It's exactly as if you were playing an Intellivision. The buttons all feel great. It was very responsive. This is what I wanted. I want where you feel like you're using a Intellivision controller. All the other Intellivision plug-and-plays have been like the controllers are cheap, or it's not an Intellivision controller, it's a weird controller. This is exactly sized as an Intellivision controller. This is accurate. I mean, they did a great job here. They really did. And it comes with the overlays, and it has every feature that the Intellivision had. It even has the IntelliVoice. All right. I mean, I don't know if computer games will work on this. That we'll have to test out one day. But everything else is pretty much up to date working. So that was the Intellivision Sprint, and I highly recommend this. I think everyone who is an Intellivision fan should get this. And when you know that's an Intellivision fan, they'll love this. Just set it up like I said, and if you don't set it up, it has over 30 games that are very fun and playable. Okay, you don't get all the great ones, but very fun. A lot of replayability in this one, and eventually you can add your own games to it too if you can figure it out. So I think that's all that has to be said. Get it, enjoy it. Intellivision is alive once again. Intellivision lives, and hopefully for a long time to come. I'm going to be playing a lot of this. I know that much.
I bet you are. But that being said, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell. And thank you for joining us for a look at the newly released Intellivision Sprint by Atari. Very good job. Hopefully more are on the line from Atari. I know they've been working on a lot of stuff. They have more Atari systems coming out. They have games coming out for the Atari systems. Atari has been very active and good for them. Hopefully they keep it coming. The fans are the ones that win when Atari does things like this. It really is great, and we retro fans appreciate it very much. And please do comment. Vespor just said comment. We do want to hear your feedback. We do want to hear your comments. Tell us your thoughts of the Intellivision Sprint and what Atari has done here for us fans. Alright, that's all for now. We'll see you all next time, everybody. I'm off to play some more Intellivision.
goodbye, everybody.